everybody, and welcome back to this episode of ℏ𝒏𝒏. I'm hoping this is going to be the final episode so we get to see all of the interesting endings. So we've just been rescued by Mashita from the Red Riding Hood who was trying to drag us out a window. So we have fought the Red Riding Hood, but we're on this is the dialogue for the bad ending is what we're going for at the moment. So let's continue. We made it back to the mansion. Mashita leaves me with the research file and heads to Diamond's hospital. Now that I'm alone, I can't keep my 3 hospitalized friends out of my mind. But there's nothing I could do for them right now. I've done everything I can. I've bolstered myself with that information. I spread Mashita's documents on the table. I'm exhausted, but I feel like I need to go through them today. Who in the world was Red Riding Hood? If Mashita was right, the truth should be right in front of me. New information added to the spirit file. Mashita's report. Spirit file. Mashita's report. I faced Red Riding Hood on the 6th floor where she had waited for me. I managed to drive her back, but she nearly takes me with her until Mashita saves me at the last second. He's furious with me for disobeying his orders and giving his research file on the hotel. This is what it says. ℏ𝑗𝑒𝓃 tattling to her homeroom teacher ℂ𝕙𝕖𝕔𝕜 about the job is what started it all. ℂ𝕙𝕖𝕔𝕜 proposed to ℏ𝑗𝑒𝓃 that they gather evidence first, and they arranged to meet at Masquerade that night. But the only thing waiting for ℏ𝑗𝑒𝓃 there was utter betrayal by the teacher she was in love with. It turned out that ℂ𝕙𝕖𝕔𝑝 herself was one of the Masquerade customers. No one knows what exactly happened to ℏ𝑗𝑒𝓃. She was found wandering the streets in her red raincoat and immediately admitted to a facility. Unfortunately, her mental state was too far gone already, and she committed suicide by throwing herself from a 6th floor window of the hospital. The night she died was cold and rainy, just like today. The report has info on ℂ𝕙𝕖𝕔𝕜 as well. When he was arrested for other illegal activities, he ended up testifying about Masquerade as well. Having your partner wear all red was code that you were planning to use the deluxe suite of the hotel. That could be the reason ℏ𝑗𝑒𝓃 wore the red raincoat that night. Not long after the trial, ℂ𝕙𝕖𝕔𝕜 apparently hung himself in jail. What a creepy story. Talk. Rest for today. Rest for today. Chapter 6. Little Red Riding Hood ended chapter 6. And so the case surrounding Masquerade quietly comes to a close, leaving an invisible scar on the dark street. The lives lost there will never return, and neither will their trampled dignity. I lost something as well. Hiro, Banshee, and Shell's conditions worsened after that. They were immediately transferred to a large hospital. Because of that, they narrowly escaped death, but their psyches will remain forever damaged. According to Diamond, the chances of them ever recovering are very thin. To have this happen to people who are only trying to lend a hand. Maybe it would have been better if I just died from the fall at the Masquerade's window. I struggle to get through each and every day. If this is Red Riding Hood's revenge, then I can admit that it's effective. Sad. A week later. That was big. I'm coming in. Mashita suddenly shows up on my doorstep. Before I ever open my mouth, he pulls out an envelope and tosses it on the table. I'm here to deliver this. It's your reward. What a joke. Rewarded for letting that happen to my friends? How should I know? The client asked me to do this, that's all. I did my job and handed it over. The rest is in your hands. Damn, what a pain. Mashita turns and curses under his breath, but I can still hear everything he says. This is all you came for? No, there's one other thing. I know something from the past case. What's that? Something about you. You're suited for this work after all. That again. Sorry, but I'm done. No more. Just hear me out. There must have been some more mysterious cases like the masquerade popping up lately. I thought it might be Mark related, but it seems I was wrong. He stopped for a moment and then mutters. Hayaki Yagyo, a monster parade. Have you ever heard anything about it? Yaki Yagyo? Yeah, sure, in ghost stories. But he's clearly asking about something that's happening in the real world. No, I haven't. That's so. I figured you, of all people, forget it. First he asks me and then he tells me to forget it. He only cares about his own bottom line. Sheena glances briefly at the sofa in the corner of the room. Might have known something. Sorry, but I can't. I just don't have the energy. I'm not saying right now. I'm sure ℏ𝕖𝕔𝓃𝓃 will wait until you're 100%. I'm not pushing you either. That's all I wanted to say. Oh, okay, bye. Little depressed that he killed his friends. No, wait, I have one last bit of advice. Quit doing stuff like that. Like what? You picked up the dead spider, didn't you? You saw. Just out of the corner of my eye. That's why darkness follows you. Your ancestors probably had pity on her too. The living and the dead can't coexist. If you try to accept their feelings, you'll just end up getting pulled in. I'll keep that in mind. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Mishida just snorts defensively like usual. Give it some thought. Even if you don't want it, then time may come one day. He leaves, closing the door behind him. That marks the end of the case and the end of one chapter in my story. But someday in the future, I can't help but think the door will be thrown open again. Is that them trying to say that there might one day be like extra DLC? Because this game is pretty old. Do you think they meant to do more? That'd be interesting if they meant to do more. End of death mark, but on the sad ending. So I'm gonna cut to the bit back where we can make it the good ending. So the good part. So I'll see you then. Welcome back. So let's begin this again. So it's the same option, so that's for the Lord to decide. It basically goes first, third, first. So when she asks, am I attractive, is when you've got to say otherwise. How do you know a person's work? Screens. And then how do I look to you? And this is where you've got to say, I've met you too late. We met too late. What do you like about me? Your honesty. There you go. And this should be give you a nicer ending. The good ending, the happy ending, a happy ever after ending. The non-Yoshiki depressed ending. Thank you. So let's... Riding his figure wavers then. See, she doesn't want to go kill your friends now. Smash through the window and off into the night. Is she still going to drag you out? That's what I'm curious about. Did she just jump? She jumped like before. Okay, so we're going to be dragged out again. What? Oh, so you're gonna get dragged out again. So I'm gonna cut this back to any new text, so you don't have to go through this part again. So I will cut here and return when there's something new. So Mishida has driven us back, and we have gone through the papers. We know about the teacher was behind this all, and the nice bit of good news is the only thing that saves that disaster is that my friend survived. ℂ𝕙𝕗𝓂𝓂𝓂𝓂 all regained consciousness after that. They got out of it with no lasting symptoms and are recovered enough to go back to their lives. Diamond concluded that the affliction inhibited the soul, very much like the mark. In that case, maybe Red Riding Hood was finally released from that horrible nightmare, just like the spirits that gave people the mark. If anything good came about because of this case, then that would be it. So he's not all depressing. A week later, we know who's coming. I'm coming in. Mishida suddenly shows up on my doorstep. Before I even open my mouth, he pulls out an envelope and tosses it on the table. I'm here to deliver this. It's your reward. Take it and get out of here. I didn't do it because I wanted a reward. How should I know? The client asked me to do this, that's all. I did my job and handed it over. The rest is in your hands. Damn, what a pain. Mishida turned and curses under his breath, but I could still hear everything he says. That's all you came for? Why is he so grumpy? Aren't they friends? Yoshiki's a grump. Maybe he should have gone down lower in my my tier list. No, there's one other thing. I learned something from this past case. And what's that? Something about you. You're suited for this work after all. That again. Sorry, but I'm done. No more. Just hear me out. There have been more mysterious cases like the masquerade popping up lately. I thought it might be a mark related, but it seems like I was wrong. He stops for a moment and then mutters, Heiyakiyago Monster Parade. Okay, we've been through this. Ghost stories. No, I haven't. Is that it? Mary might have known. So you want my help? The old lady, ℏ𝕗𝑒𝓃𝓉, seems to think you could do some good. I do too. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, so it's a little bit different, but still, like, he's not as depressing. No, wait, I have one last bit of advice. Quit doing stuff like that. Like what? You picked up that dead spider, didn't you? You saw? Just out of the corner of my eye. That's why darkness follows you. Your ancestors probably had pity on her too. The living and the dead cannot coexist. If you try to accept their feelings, you'll just end up getting pulled in. Even so, because I did the other one last time. Mishida might be right, but even so, if someone doesn't accept them, they'll stay like that forever. That's not something I want to bear. Mishida just snorts diversively, like usual. Give it some thought. Even if you don't want it, the time may come one day. He leaves, closing the door behind him. That marks the end of the case and the end of one chapter of my story. But someday in the future, I can't help but think, the door will be thrown open again. And that concludes this Let's Play of Deathmark. I am so happy. I enjoy this game so much. Like, the characters, the story, the mechanics. I really, really like this game. I'm glad that I chose it. I chose to play it. And I'm glad I did a Let's Play as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So next I will be playing the sequel, so Spirit Hunter NG, and that it looks kind of interesting. I've seen a few playthroughs for it. That's why again I wanted to play it. But it's not like a true sequel. It's set in the same world but not the same characters, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's going to be super fun, super exciting. So catch that next week. I should probably have at least a couple of episodes scheduled for then. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know down in the comments what your favourite chapter of Deathmark is. And again, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next Let's Play. Bye!